All right, welcome back to Born to Be Great. What's going on, Nick? How are you?
I'm good, man. I got my best bud, Tommy Hudson here, man. We battled it out over the years, man. Tommy, it's good to have you on, brother.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Nick. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome, I love
Trying to
it.
think, trying to think the first time I met Tommy.
I know. I can
It would have
remember is you and
Brady?
Brady at that little house party. I think Brady was reading his Bible, and you guys were like, "This is stupidest shit I've ever seen." And I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" He's like, "Oh yeah, because you guys early enrolled." I was like,
Oh, was this during your official visit?
"That was my official visit." Yeah,
I think I remember that. Yeah.
it was the most rundown, dungy looking ASU wannabe party that you could imagine.
Yeah, it wasn't like Florida, Justin.
I'm sure it was honestly very similar.
I mean, ASU was really fun, and towards the end of my career there, Tommy and I got to play quite a bit together on offense, kind of as like tight end H back, and there's some really good moments that I remember. We beat USC that one year at USC, right?
And
And
we
we were
beat the
just running
brakes
the
off
ball.
USD. Yeah, we,
Yeah,
we ran for like 280 yards. We ran the ball like every single play for 12 minutes straight and just dominated.
yeah. And so there was like these two crazy white guys that would just like kind of double team defensive ends and linebackers, but yeah, Tommy's the one guy in my life that I know that'll always have my back, and if I'm at a bar fight and get hit, that the other whoever hit me is screwed. But yeah, we I guess yeah, Tommy, maybe speak a little bit of your where your background and then how you got to ASU, and then we can speak on some of your career there, and then the transition to the NFL, and then kind of bouncing around all those places, and where you and what you learned kind of during that process, and then what you're doing now. And I'm sure Justin will have some things to add or questions. But yeah, I guess take it back to um, even before Archbishop Mitty. Can't remember what
Shoot.
city that was in.
San Jose, Santa Clara, just
Yeah,
California as a whole is pretty forgettable at this point. But yeah, no, born and raised California. Sad to say at some points in time, but definitely grateful for at least that perspective on things and seeing what it was definitely a different California when I grew up than it is now. Going back every so often, you just kind of see the difference in the spark. Like the schools are different. The little leagues aren't as lively. There's not as many kids running around. There's 25,000 Teslas every square mile, so it's a different spot. But I was really thankful to go to ASU. There was a lot of schools that I was choosing between, and at the time Arizona was just absolutely
didn't
dominant
you
in
have like
football.
30 something offers?
Yeah, there was quite a bit to choose from. So there was SC was like the dream school for me. Proximity, 10-hour drive, family could still come to see. ASU was never really on my radar for football. I was thinking I was going to play baseball there.
Yeah,
But
did you
then,
have baseball scholarships?
I had a lot of like baseball scholarships are weird. So like football, everything's just full ride. Even if you suck and never play, your college is paid for. You get books and food and housing. Baseball, even if you're a top recruit, only like one to two guys a school will get a full ride. Everyone else is getting partials. They'll get like 60, 80%. So most of the schools that I was getting recruited by were back east. So it's like $60,000 a year tuition. You're coming out of pocket no matter how good you are. So it's like, all right, probably going to take a football scholarship at this point. And I'm thankful that I did. ASU at the time was just like on the biggest come up of any program. They were ranked like fourth, I think, at one point. They
Yeah.
they just had beaten Notre Dame, like just complete high of highs. And that was like the week I committed was the week they played Notre Dame, and they had the gold helmets and they just beat the brakes off Notre Dame. And then next week they lost to Oregon State, which was the most embarrassing thing ever. But like you think, okay, we're going to a program that has really good foundation. They've got good character from their coaching staff all the way down, a lot of continuity. They're close to home. Family could come and see the games, and it was at a really good business school. And like those were all kind of the criteria that led me to ASU. And it always got a rap as being like the party central. But like in the last 15 years, they've torn out frat row and they're building a medical school. It's like it's a completely different ASU than it was. Like obviously there's still, parties like any school, but the school itself had changed dramatically, and it's just such an accessible place, and had good football. And then that really drove me to go there. And then the coaching staff that was there was very faith focused and family oriented, and they were really like they were no bullshit kind of staff. And like a lot of coaches would tell you, you're going to start, you're going to play, you're going to do this, and they're like, all right, you're going to come here, you're going to probably not start, you're going to have to work for this and this, but we see a spot for you, we want you in our program, we see where you can go. And they kind of laid that framework for me as I showed up on campus. And then once they knew they had me, then they just dug their teeth in and fucking let you have it.
Yeah.
Those guys knew how to dog cuss you out of a room. Like the little Britney Spears mics, like, so we're inside the bubble, and they would be on the Britney Spears mic. All the coaches would have one, and they would just dog cuss you like you wouldn't believe, like on a loud PA system. They'd be like, "You stupid son of a bitch. What the hell did we recruit your ass for, you sorry motherfucker?" Like day one. And we're like, what the fuck did I get into? Like, and I'm just like, holy shit. Like they're like very wholesome in the recruiting trail. They come into your house, eat pizza, they're drinking beer, relaxing. Like your family's like, these guys are going to love you like a son. And then you get there and they're like, all right, we're an abusive father, but we're going to make sure you get it all. And it was definitely what I needed. I didn't think I needed it at the time, but like in hindsight, that's exactly what I needed to like pursue anything meaningful beyond football or even in life. So I'm really thankful for all those experiences and those coaches. As crazy as they sound in the stories that we have, like I wouldn't change it for a second. And I was thankful enough to meet guys like Nick at ASU, and he was definitely a unique person in a crowd full of misfits.
Man.
But we kind of gravitated towards each other. He had his Texas upbringing, I had my California upbringing, and we kind of battled, culture shock a little bit, but we kind of came to see the world the same way. And I owe a lot of the transitions in my life to Christ through Nick and seeing his family, and how they operate, and those things are really impactful and are much bigger than the game and anything else that I've ever done. So I mean, all those things, like you could go down any kind of rabbit hole and go to talk for an hour, but the grand scheme of things, like I'm just grateful for every single thing that happened, good or bad, that's kind of put me in the position that I am now.
I love that mindset. That's awesome. Well, I guess talking about college here, and then I want to hear about the stuff for the league too. But was there like a moment when y'all were playing, and I guess I could hear from both of you when y'all were both at ASU that was like, what was the coolest moment? What was like the most challenging moment? Let's just do that.
I would say the most underrated moment of college football, which is probably most people's worst moments, would be when me and Nick were redshirting and we get to hang out on the weekends. We would watch the team play and they would just get boat raced and we're like, these fuckers suck. And we would just be able to have fun. And that's where like the real bonding and like friendship grew, was like in the same struggle. It's like, man, this is bullshit that we're not playing. These guys suck. And again, like we thought we had it figured out and like we had the answers. And when we got our shot, we definitely took advantage of it. But those are the moments that I think are the most fun because they're irreplaceable and you can't kind of get them in any other capacity than in that specific moment in time. And being there exactly at the same time where me, Nick, and Brady are all staying at home when we watch the team go travel and play. We're like, damn, we thought we were college football players.
Brady was traveling. I think it was just you. And then when I tore my hamstring, I didn't travel at all. And I remember playing college, watching like, the one game at Utah where they were playing away, and we just had like stupid fumbles, and we're just like, God, these guys suck.
And like, the funny thing is too, like we'd go on practice squad and we would just beat the crap out of them all week. And like it's scheme, obviously there's more intangibles to the game than just being physically dominant. But like we're thinking like, God, man, these guys can't block us, they can't stop us. Like, why are we not playing? And then when we finally did get our shot, there was a lot of fun on the field, and it was just like the best things of ASU showed up on game day for us. And the things that most people would take for granted, like, damn, I'm not getting the ball, I'm not scoring touchdowns, I'm not, showing up in the stat sheet. Like that wasn't what was fun for me and Nick. Like we were just abusing people, like just absolutely abusing people, jumping on them, laying on them, dragging them across the ground, like talking shit, just covered in eye black, just yelling and screaming, smelling salts like you wouldn't believe. And like we literally made the most of every single thing that we were given at ASU. And most people would take that and be like, man, they don't like me, they're not trying to play me. But that's the only reason we got an opportunity in the league was because of how we played in college. And it wasn't, hey, light up the stat sheet, be the star of the game. It was like, go just drive your helmet into somebody's chin strap 30 times in a row and do it with a smile on your face. And you're just going to keep getting more opportunities and people want to be around you. And you just kind of fall into more opportunities when you do things that way.
Yeah,
Gladiator, man,
man.
let's go.
It is honestly it was like so hard. But you get used to like always being in war. Well, I mean we would do these crazy workouts. And I forget what they called it on Friday. Um
Oh,
with Grizz.
Grinder Fridays.
Oh my God, dude, they would just
The
run us to
stupidest things you
death.
could ever run us to death. We're doing, you know, 50% of your max for 300 reps on squats, like just dragging chains and we would do heavy power cleans, and nobody, mind you, nobody on our team knew how to like properly clean a barbell. They were just throwing it up, just muscling it up. Dudes are blowing their backs out, breaking their wrists. But like we're lift super heavy on Monday, and then we're gonna run super heavy on Monday. And nothing was about optimal performance. It was just about TTH, which was their motto. It was like tougher than hell in everything that we do. And then it was like dumber than hell most of the time, but it did get a little bit, it got the most out of you, whether you wanted that part of you thrown up on the floor. Like every single workout was the most non-optimal, non-scientific back workout, but it did
Made
work.
us
It,
tough,
it
man. Yeah.
it, it changed
Made
your
us
mind, and like
freaking
those are
tough.
the things that actually made us successful on the football field and off the football field. And like it didn't make you look jacked, it didn't make you that strong. You were probably more hurt than you were healthy, but you had a you had something inside you that was being built, and that translates into so many other things. And I don't know if they were doing that intentionally, but that was definitely the byproduct of that. And for some people, they couldn't swing it. They
They
hated
couldn't
it.
adapt to that culture or buy into just doing,
Like it's a bare
tough
minimum. It's
shit.
just like acknowledge that it's going to suck. You're not going to get through it with a smile on your face, but like at least pretend like you like it and show up the next day and do it again. And guys just, they couldn't hang and they couldn't do the little things right. And there was so many guys that were more talented than me and Nick. Like the
Yeah.
guys that made it to the NFL, like they weren't the most talented guys on our team by far. It's just guys that couldn't put it together between the ears. And for whatever reason, whatever hurdles were stopping them, whatever demons they were fighting, like it just never clicked for him. And that's for me, that's the thing that's the most sad. So I think bad coaching can't get to those guys, and like sometimes like that raw mentality doesn't work because it's not computing where the help is coming from. It just feels like an attack. But man, like there's so many more talented people out there that aren't playing professional sports versus the
Yeah.
guys that actually make it. It's just
Is
wild.
that a mindset thing? So like, I mean, obviously everyone in college and the NFL is really good, but do you think that's more of like a mindset thing, just like that what got you out
It's
there? Because you guys
mental
sounds like
and
y'all.
emotional. Yeah. So yeah, there is mindset to it, but there's a whole like emotional thing
Hmm.
just
It,
dealing with this
it's
stuff
ego.
day in and day
It's
out.
yeah, it's like it's ego, it's pride, it's these things that like I should be the guy. I need to be doing this and this. Like this is what people are telling me. Like they're listening to one voice while they're subsequently not doing the thing that's actually going to get them where they want to go. And it just keeps going on and on and on like this. Where like, hey, they'll get an opportunity and then they'll fight somebody in the locker room or get suspended or get popped for a drug test and can't play. It's like they just big ups, bigger downs, and it just was like that for so many guys. And a lot of guys, like even in high school, that are more talented, that don't even get a chance in college because they really couldn't figure it out. They're just every single person at every single level was like that.
It's interesting. I think, I mean, at least in business, my whole philosophy with business, and a lot of people ask me this thing, my whole philosophy is like, I think it's 80% psychology, 20% actual tactics. It sounds very similar to football, 80% psychology, emotionality, and then like 20% actually like the talent side of things and like being good, which is really interesting to me. Um, I want, I mean, Nick, I don't know if you have another question for Tommy about that, but I want to hear more about like his experience in the league. Like, I guess transitioning from ASU, knowing all that
Yeah.
stuff, and y'all can talk about that.
Yeah, I
Shoot, yeah,
mean,
that
it
was a
all
weird era
started.
too.
So it was 2020. I had spent my last year at Louisiana, had a good season, and I actually came back. And I think I was going to do a pro day at Arizona State. And I think I was kind of doing stuff at Exos, and I think Tommy's doing stuff at at ASU, but that just started a whole long journey for both of us. He ended up getting picked up that year, and he can kind of go into all of that. Dealt with some injuries and with his head and hamstring. I didn't get picked up, and there was a whole other year of me kind of training on my own, and then getting picked up the following year. But um, yeah, I mean, Tommy's a big dude with a really good skill set, and having that at the tight end position for a team is really valuable. And you ended up Titans, right? That's who picked you up
Yep.
first. Yeah, so I guess you can dive into that.
Yeah, no, that was a super unique period. There was a lot of relationship bonding in that period too. So it was me, Nick, and our other buddy Case is actually in the WWE right now. Um,
Oh, we need to
when
get
all
him
the
on the
gyms shut
podcast.
down and when yeah, I know he's living it up right now. He's a cool dude. So like when the gym shut down and COVID came, there was nowhere to train. So like I was trying to build like a makeshift gym in my garage, and Case had a big barn in his backyard. The guy that's in the WWE now, and we would all train there. So like we were showing up there for 2 hours a day in the Arizona heat, just like blasting music, working out, like with no real expectations of the league. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know where COVID was going to be or what was going to happen. We just said, screw it, we're going to make the
Like
most of
this
this
is
and
like
lift.
March, April. Everything is shut down. Like
And
Hmm.
it
we're
is
just
like
lifting like psychopaths for like months and months and months, just like waiting to hear what's going to happen. Like pro days get canceled. You don't get to go to Lucas Oil. Nothing's available. All the gyms are shut down. You think everyone at the time thinks you're going to die. So we're just like, all right, let's just work out and like, let's see what happens. Um, and that process was really fun. It was also stressful, but it was very revealing to kind of all the chips were down. Like there's not many things you can do. Like let's do the one thing that's at least going to make us better in some capacity. And that's, again, a testament to everything that's been poured into us in college. And that was a super unique experience. But that transitioned into the NFL in April, where like you're getting Zoom calls just like this podcast. Is like that's how you're being installed an entire NFL playbook. And the NFL playbook, like one play can be ran 30 different ways out of 20 different formations. You could be
yeah.
the X, the Y, the Z, the running back. You could be in, you know, 20 personnel with no tight end, like no running backs. They could be in the backfield. Like you could be motion. Like that's just for one play. And you're learning 9 different weeks with 50 different plays, run and pass, all the protections, and you're trying to do this over Zoom. And when I showed up to Tennessee for the first day, like it's we're wearing masks, like we're doing contact tracers. The first couple of days were just conditioning. We weren't allowed to eat together. Your lockers had like partitions between each locker. You're not allowed to like hang out. So the camaraderie of football wasn't there. And then when you go into the stadiums and you're playing, week one, it's like there's nothing. Like it's quieter than sitting in your house alone. Like there's no creaks, there's no noise,
That's
there's no
insane.
echoes. You hear the crack and the thud of every single shoulder pad. You hear every like that's a bullshit call, ref. Like you hear everything. It's the craziest thing ever. It's like playing Madden with the sliders turned down for crowd volume, and you could just like hear everything. And it's
Hmm.
just it's super super unique, but it was a super super wild time. I also got married during COVID. I met my wife my last year in college. We had our kid. We found out she was pregnant during COVID, so we were doing with that. NFL, moving all around the country. So it was a wild time for sure.
Wow. What was the most challenging part for you about that, like that whole experience? Because I mean, that's a lot going on there. You're having a kid, you're getting married, playing the first year in the league, and it's COVID. Like that's not to me. That just sounds
And you
like
were away from your
challenging.
wife and baby, right? When you're out in
Well, there
Nashville,
was there was
or did they come
there was
out
no
there?
baby yet. No, she came out there with me, and then we found out she was pregnant like 2 weeks into training camp. I would say there's like one moment that was like for sure by far like not the most physically challenging, but like the most mental load of any day would have been the day I found out she was pregnant, and I had just been like fucking up like you couldn't believe all week, messing up plays, not getting lined up correctly. So I'm like, oh, shit, I need to figure this out. Like I need to really focus on my craft and figure this thing out. And then boom, out of left field, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm like, oh shit, I need to really figure it the fuck out. And it just was like that day was just so crazy. Like nothing was out of the norm or anything other than the change in circumstance. But that was a turning point for me where I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I need to do it. It's either gonna happen or it's not. Like I can't just keep kind of half-assing or trying to think something's gonna change. Like it's now or never. And then I kind of have a different approach and a more um, I guess more graceful approach to how I was learning the playbook and kind of going about things, and just said, you know what, every single play I'm just going to go absolutely freaking crazy. Even if I'm going to go block the wrong safety, I'm going to go ear hole the hell out of him. I broke face masks, I broke my nose, like just, and that's, even though I'm not grading out the best, like they're seeing things that you can't coach. It's like, okay, we have a framework, we have a guy that's not really understanding our offense like a true vet, but we see his willingness to do things the right way. And like those are the things that you can show guys in a 2-3 week tryout pretty much. Like, hey, like this is why I belong here. And that's really all I ever wanted, like going into the NFL. I was like, I don't really want to have a long career. I don't want to play for a decade. I just want to know in my heart that I'm good enough to play. That's all I really care about. Like I'm not here for the vanity or the fame or the money. Like all that's a great downstream thing, but for me, it was just like a validation piece of like, hey, I know these guys aren't better than me. I know I could play. And then once that happened, it was just house money for me at that point.
Effort. I love it. I mean, that's like a similar pattern I see between both y'all. I mean, Nick, you and your story, you're a freaking grinder too. So I mean, it makes total sense why you guys are good friends and the similarities there. I mean, that's just my observation, but I mean, you
Man,
guys
dude,
you
there's
guys
just
definitely
so
work hard.
much. There's just so, like, just even thinking back, oh, because it's basically, I mean, almost 10 years now that I've known Tommy, and then you're probably around 9 years when we got to ASU, but we went through a lot of shit, man. Um,
Like just sequentially,
everything.
year over year, month over month, it was something new.
A
It
lot
just
of,
crazy.
I mean, some of the best times though was just simple stuff like studying at the library at 11:30 with Tommy. I mean, simple stuff like that, or trips that we would go, um, Phoenix, 2 hours north. I mean, you can get up into the mountains and Flagstaff and Payson, and you drive 5 hours west to get out to California. And at one point when I was doing my business hustling stuff, like flipping shoes and stuff, we drove out to like San Diego to go to this like Nike store it was like a big clearance store. Bought a bunch of cleats to like flip. And it's cool now that we're both kind of done with football, still um, working together on business stuff and still connected because Tommy's probably the only one that I'm still oh, Cody French, that's another. We need to get Cody and Tommy, man, and my dad. Like, dude, there's just like the funniest stuff. Um, that when we're all together sometime we can talk about. But it is hilarious, man. We had some really good times, and Tommy's a testament to just keeping your head down and grinding no matter what's happening in your um environment. And he was very persistent. There was a lot of, and he didn't really talk about it. There was a lot of injuries that he battled in. I mean, not only like in college, probably had 10 concussions, but in the NFL, I mean, he had some pretty scary concussion stuff, hamstring stuff. Um, Tommy, you want to speak like kind of on some of those injuries and how you got through them and stayed positive, and kind of just speak on that a little bit because I remember there's certain times when you'd be so busy we didn't talk that much, but I remember several times throughout your career, probably not as much when I was playing, um, but after, I mean, because you played up until basically this
Last
year.
August,
So
yeah.
how many seasons was that? Four,
Uh,
five?
five, five, four going into five when I was.
21,
cut.
too. Yeah, so I mean, you dealt with some head stuff, right? And then hamstring kind of in head stuff twice.
Yep.
I can't remember it all.
No, it was so it was my I broke so it was kind of all like once it started, it was like the floodgates were open. Like it started in camp, my second year, got turf toe, kind of tore the metatarsal in my foot, like had a little bit of a foot issue. And then I was starting, I started for 5 games, broke my ankle at MetLife, so I was a MetLife casualty with their shitty slip field turf. So I definitely not a fan of that. But yeah, so I was trending upwards, like first week, had a couple catches, played the third down tight end for the first time ever in my life. I was a third down tight end. Even in high school, I wasn't the third down guy. So that was like my first NFL game was the third down tight end in uh, where the Seahawks play. So that was the first crowd game of the year, loudest stadium, and like my first play was a first down over the middle, ran over Jamal Charles, got 25 yards. This first play in the NFL like of that year with fans, and that was a super fun kind of like everything's kind of trending upwards. Break my ankle, uh, pretty bad. Like never really had like an injury that's like a direct one off. Like I've torn quads and I've gotten hurt in the past, but nothing like hey, this is like a real injury that takes you out. Um, had turf toe all that same time frame. Uh, about six-ish weeks after I broke my ankle, tore all the ligaments, didn't get tightrope or any surgery. I came back because a buddy of mine who was like dealing with a concussion couldn't play. So Vrabel and the coaching staff came up to me in the training room like, hey, he can't play this week. We need you. Can you play? And mind you, I hadn't ran yet in 6 weeks. I hadn't put a cleat on in 6 weeks. I hadn't ran anywhere other than like the hydro works, like on the in water treadmill, and I could not run. I could not run, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like they're gonna take care of me. Like I'm gonna play. So I go and play. I play like 25 snaps and a lot of the like short yardage stuff, just blocking. Ankle is just like the size of a softball. And then I'm like, it's not healed at all. But like at this point, like I'm up. If they were to put me back on IR, I'd be done for the year. So I'm like, okay, I can tough this out. Like it's gonna get better. I trust them. I trust them. Next week, like the dumbest dude on the team, probably, in my opinion, who could not figure out what to do in his assignment. If you literally wrote it on a card and you showed it to him before the snap, he would still fuck it up. And it's kickoff return, and this dude goes and runs into me trying to block the guy that I'm already blocking, and he like just breathes on my ankle. Like he didn't hit me really hard or anything. He like just feather like just barely tapped it, and my ankle tape just exploded. And like from then on, it was like the fractures that were partial fractures were complete fractures of my tibia. All the ligaments retore completely. Just like my foot was like just like this bad. And that was about a 14-week recovery, which is probably about how long the first one should have been. Didn't get surgery under the advice of the league. That's a whole nother can of worms to get into. Come back in training camp that year, not really fully back because my ankle's still tight, so I'm not really running right. My gait's a little bit wrong. Tear my hamstring in OTAs, and then it's like, okay, what the hell is going on? Like, this is supposed to be my year. Like, I'm their guy. They trusted me. They didn't draft anybody that year. Like, they're really putting a lot of investment into me. And then, fight to get healthy before training camp ends. Missed the first week of training camp that year. Come back for the preseason game against Baltimore and just absolutely go lights out concussion. And like from then on, I was about 4-ish months of just like borderline, like, oh shit, like I'm fucked up forever kind of a thing. Like can't work out, can't do anything. Like I'm having migraines. I'm like laying on the floor, can't be outside. And I'm like, and at the same time, you're like dealing with the team. Like they're trying to like, hey man, figure like what's going on, what's going on. Like they're not trying to help you get better. They're just trying to, check a box and see what's next. So dealing with that was super tough. And that was pretty much my last stint with Tennessee, and then went over to Denver for about 6 months. Was there and tore my labrum in my hip, tweaked my hamstring again, then get signed on I got traded for another tight end in New Orleans. Go to New Orleans, is there for 2 years, and then this last OTA is just for some reason, my hamstring just would not stay attached to my body for whatever reason. I tore it 3 times in OTAs, and I'm like, okay, this is like ridiculous. They still were like, all right, just get healthy. See you in training camp. The best shape I've ever been in for football in my life was training camp. Like as lean, as strong, as conditioned as I've ever been. And then like 2 weeks into training camp, the first like real practice where I'm about to get like ton of opportunity, tear my hamstring again, out for 6 weeks, get a settlement, and like
Was
you're
this
kind of out
last
of
year?
it. This is last year, yeah. So like I tore my
Yeah.
hamstring 4 times in 5 months, and it's just like okay. So
Holy
like
crap.
I tore it 5 times overall, and it was within a window of time that's like just like as quick as it happened, it was going and it was over like just like that. So it's a super unique business where there's not a lot of forgiveness, even though you're trying to put yourself out there. Where like you think the more I give, the more you get. It's not really that same transactional relationship that you get with most things that you do. Like you could go grind and study and pass a test. You could go work and build a business by just putting the man hours. Football is a whole different thing. Like you could go grind your ass off and like your body fails you, like you're done. It doesn't matter how much you want it, how smart you are, how much you know the playbook, how many hours of film you watch. It's like it's just one of those things that like I always joke about. Like I don't want to be the guy. It's like, oh, well, back in my day before I hurt myself, I could throw it a quarter mile. Like it's all a cliche, but like it really does feel like that. Like you get to the top, you can feel it, you can see it, and then it just drops out from underneath you. And for me, like that whole period was dark, but the only reason it wasn't as dark as it could have been is because I had young children, and like both times when I got hurt, it was like okay, I'm hurt, but now I'm getting paid to just hang out with my kid as a newborn, and it happened with both kids where I was able to just be home for like a ridiculous amount of time. And to me, big picture wise, like that's incredibly valuable. That no NFL experience, like I got enough NFL experience to be content knowing where I stand in the grand scheme of things. Like obviously not any record books or anything, but I could confidently say that I belonged in the league and my body just did it at the end of the day. But I have way more positive things to take away from all that than I do negative, and it generally comes back to faith and family more than anything.
That's dude. I mean, the amount of injuries you went through, I cannot even imagine. But you have a great perspective for sure. So that's really cool to hear. How do you? I mean, I know we were talking earlier about like the Whoop before we got in here. How do you deal with like health and wellness now? Like, I know you got to be into it for sure. Like, are you still working out? Like, how do you treat your body now? Just curious.
I mean, I go through phases. There's definitely different times like for different things. Like when I get hurt, it's very a holistic approach, like trying to be like kind to my body in a way, like not like a hippie, like but like, hey, my body's just been through a bunch of shit. Like it's time to like take a step back and heal. Um, but just like for my mental clarity, I have to be doing something very, very like aggressive is the wrong word to use, but it needs to be very intentional and like difficult
Hmm.
and not difficult from like, oh, this is like a challenging thing to go do, like doing a handstand and running around with a bucket of water on your head, but just like doing reps to failure and stuff we learned in at ASU, like just the way you can push yourself physically opens up so many other things mentally that you couldn't possibly imagine, like ruminating on things that you try and think your way out of. At some point, you just got to buckle your chin strap up and just brute force it. And it's almost like an old school, like was it called an Italian tune-up, where you just redline until the car starts driving right again. And that's really, has been very true in my life. Like the more I put in physically, the clearer my mind feels, and the clearer I can kind of see things. And it's not for like a goal of like running a sub three hour marathon or benching a certain weight or doing a certain thing. It's like I know what my best feels like in a training session, and like just getting to that threshold and then just taking it one step further in everything that I'm doing, whether it's staying in the sauna for an extra minute or staying in the cold plunge a little deeper or putting an extra 10 pounds on the bar and then doing like rest pause sets. Just like there's so many little ways you can challenge yourself. um, I ended up building up a gym in my garage, and you got everything you could possibly want. Have memberships at every gym you could possibly think of. But it's just always,
Do y'all still
it's
live
not
there?
even a question. Yeah, yeah, we're still here. Yeah, we got the house in 2019 and been here ever since. It's just been a
Yeah,
home
it's
base
so
for us to
cool
come back
talking
to.
to that.
Yeah, no, we got
I'm
it
glad
all
you finally
decked out.
connected, man. It is
Yeah.
Justin is he's on his A game, man.
Shoot,
I think we
I
can
don't
all
know
make
about I don't know
all
about
make
that,
each
man.
other better.
I don't know about my A game. I'm trying to like I think dude, the only way okay, this is just me and y'all give me y'all's opinion, or you guys give me your opinion on this because I'm actually very curious. I feel like the only way I can be at my A game, and y'all talked about it, is like when you're around other A players. Like if it's
Yeah.
just me, I don't work out nearly as hard by myself. I gotta have a trainer. Like I think being around guys like you, like that's what makes me better. So like I don't feel like I am at my A game unless I'm around other dudes like trying to, or people who are trying to like be better every day. That's just by myself. I'm not an A player. I just don't feel like it. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, for me, I can tell you just getting away from being around a bunch of dogs just on the fitness side. Um, it's just been not a priority for me, and I'm in the worst, you know, shape of my life. I'd say on the business side, I mean, being around some dogs, I feel like, doing a lot of good stuff on that side. But you are, I don't even know if we've talked about this specifically. Maybe we have, Justin, but like you are who you surround yourself with. Um, and if you're not intentional about surrounding yourself with the right people or putting the right content and life, into yourself, you're automatically going to take in like the negative stuff or the procrastination or being lazy um but when you're around elite people, um it just helps you to be more, elite. I mean, kind of what Ed Milet says around the thermostat, just turning up the thermostat, in your life. And people operate at different temperatures, but yeah, I mean, so much easier when you got accountability with the people that you know you're around. And if you're around really good people, it's going to elevate you to be better. And when you're around bad people, you know it's going to make you worse. um yeah, Tommy, what would you add?
I mean, there's a few things to that. Like, I mean, spiritual element of it is like you don't have to be taught how to be defiant. Like, you don't need to be taught how to say no or how to hit and how to run away from things, run away from problems. Like, that's just you see that in kids. Like, as you have young children, like Nick, you probably see it. Like, you never had to tell your kid what no meant or how to hit you or how to run away or how to be defiant. And like, those are things you have to be intentional about in every aspect of your life. Is like there's a human nature to everything where like we kind of resort to our lowest common denominator, and that's usually like the Navy SEALs talk about it, and all these guys have their own philosophy, but it always roots down to like you are who you're trained to be in every situation. Whatever your lowest common thread of training, that's what you're going to result to when the worst thing happens. That's what our coaches said. That's what the Bible says. It's what every self-help guru talks about is like, who are you at your worst kind of shows who you truly are, who your character is. And like, there was an example with Nick, like we were talking to our team chaplain, and this came up again recently for me is he's a very good spiritual leader, but there's like three pillars of a man. Like you have your spiritual, you have your physical, and then you have your mental. And he was a very spiritual, like gifted storyteller, and he was a very smart guy. But when he presents himself to the world, like he's missing that physicality and like that self determination. It's like, hey, this guy cares about himself. He's diligent. He respects his body, and he's conscientious because you can see how he presents himself to the world. And I think that is just so true when you surround yourself with people that hold you to those different standards, whether it's a spiritual accountability, whether it's mental, focusing on what you actually are missing and what you need to learn and improving yourself that way. And then the physical side of things, like you can't have one without the other. Like you have to be physically fit, you have to be physically strong to be mentally strong. Like you can't just think your way out of a bad situation. Like it's sometimes you really just have to endure, and it doesn't matter how smart you are, how spiritual you are, like if you can't physically endure it, like you won't be successful. So I think all three of those things go really, hand in hand.
Damn, dude, that was a freaking wisdom bomb.
Banger.
That was awesome, dude. I love that. Um, Wow, I don't even know what to say after that. I just agree. Like that was yeah, dude. I 100% agree. I know in my life for sure. Like when I wasn't hitting the gym as consistently as I probably could have been, like my business would slip a little bit. Like mentally, I didn't feel as good, and like vice versa too. Like I could be going hard in business and like um and lose focus at other things. So it's just like I think it's really yeah, it's really important to like integrate all of those three. I don't like the word balance, but like you got to have them. I think if you want to be at the best
Yeah,
of the
it's
best.
like they all need to be tuned up to the highest level. It's not really even a balancing act. It's more of like making sure your cup's filled up in each of those different places. And that's where I think the camaraderie comes in. It's not just having someone who's killing it next to you. It's like someone who can be like, hey man, you need to fill up your cup here. Like you're really slacking. Like you haven't, poured into this or poured into that. And like that's where a team and like people that really want to see the best in you are really valuable because they're willing to say like, hey, like you haven't been to the gym in 3 months, man. Like you used to get after it. Like you're slipping, you're sleeping in. You're not grinding like you used to. And like that that's what you would want to say to your friend. Like you would want somebody to be able to say that to you. And that only comes from a closeness and a realness with people that you can get from spending time and being around good people.
No, 100%. Do you have that still, Tommy? Like in person, like in your area?
In a way, I have it. It's definitely different than what I would envision it being. A lot of what I've been pouring into is just becoming, closer to my relationship with Jesus and building my spiritual foundation in a way that becomes unshaken. And there's different seasons to every chapter in my life. There's been seasons of abundance of friendships and and mentors and people to lean on. And then there's been a lot of seasons of solitude and just really looking inward and answering questions that I can find within myself. And a lot of these things have just propelled me into new opportunities where like, you start to see like, oh, that's why I was supposed to go through that. That's why I'm supposed to endure this. And there's a lot of wisdom in it, but you have to be able to hear the whispers and not just drown out the noise by just trying to figure out all these problems all by yourself. Like you have to be able to be alone with yourself and figure things out. And a lot of it is just put in the work and it's all cliches. It's like they're cliches for a reason.
Dude, I 100% agree. I mean, I think that's a good way to close it out, Nick, unless you want to talk about anything else. But dude, Tommy, dude, freaking wisdom bombs after wisdom bomb, right? That was awesome.
I appreciate
See,
it,
I've been
Dustin.
trying to get y'all together, man.
Dude, we should do like we should have like a little, since we're all separated and we're trying to like, be dogs, like Nick likes to say. We just need like a little accountability group chat, a little something like that,
There you
Oh
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
actually do it.
Tommy's Pacific time. I'm Central, and you're East. But yeah, no, I'm down. There's more dogs out there that we all need to get together and continue to hold each other accountable and hype each other up and find ways to help um, you know, one another. Just build another freaking badass team. Um, but
Let's
yeah,
do
I
it.
mean, there's a lot that dude, there's crazy stories of at some point Tommy and I will give you the DC story. Um, this was last year, and it was just like crazy rabbit holes that we've been down.
Stuff that you can't say in a podcast.
Now just like crazy stuff, man, that we only further strengthens the bond, and it's just crazy, still, interacting and being around Tommy and in business because, doesn't matter what situation I'm in. I know if, Tommy's with me, he's gonna have my back, man. And I mean, someday we'll just we'll dig into it, man, because it is like
Well, you're cracking yourself up, so it
because
sounds like.
it's just crazy. Um,
All right, well, maybe we'll
but
do
yeah,
another
future
podcast.
episodes.
Maybe do another podcast with Tom, and y'all can tell that story, and it can just be about that, or we can do we'll talk about it some other time
That'll be behind a paywall. You'll have to
behind the
you
paywall.
have to
All
yeah.
right, cool. Well, cool, man. I
Um,
mean, Tommy, do you got any like anything you want to end with, or any words of wisdom you want? I mean, you already left us with a bunch of wisdom. Do you got anything else you want to end with?
No, man, I just, it's fun to chop it up. Like these are some of the reasons why, the locker room is so fun is you just get moments like this, you just sit around a table and just chat and we would do that at school. We do that in the cafeteria, and it's just there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of fun to be had from it. So I really appreciate it.
Cool. We appreciate you coming on. This is awesome.
Of course, anytime, man, anytime. Just let me know.